If you followed my channel, you know that I've played for 10 years on the WTA Tour, and you probably also know that I had to retire because of injuries. And yes, of course, I warmed up before practices and matches, and I spent a fair amount in the weight room, but compared to what the players do these days, it was nothing. But whereas the pros, a lot of them, now travel with strength and conditioning coaches and trainers, we as mere mortals have to figure out our warm-up, our strength and conditioning, and our injury prevention routines ourselves. And because of that, in this video, I'm doing a product review of the new ADV Fitness Kit. Now, whereas when we see junior lessons, we see them warming up, and that is called athletic development, and it's absolutely necessary. But when you're seeing adult lessons, let's be honest, how much warm-up and injury prevention do we really see? And I can attest to that. The older we get, the more we should be doing this. And that is why I want to introduce the ADV Fitness Kit to you, because it's the only fitness kit on the market that's designed for tennis players by tennis players. And I'm going to show you one exercise for each of the 7 pieces of equipment that you'll get, the exercise that I like to do the most with that piece of equipment. But that is just a taste, because when you get your ADV Fitness Kit, you'll also unlock a vault of videos that will show you how myself and other coaches, the Tennis Mentor and Stocky Tennis amongst them, are using these tools. The entire fitness kit comes in this drawstring bag that is really sturdy and heavy duty. All of the 7 tools obviously fit in here, and this drawstring also has 2 more compartments. For instance, if you want to put your phone, your keys in here, or one of the tools that you use more, you want to put that in a separate pocket, you got 2 of them available here. It's small enough, light enough that it fits in any tennis bag, so no more excuses that you couldn't fit it into your bag. And of course, if you have a dedicated fitness session coming up, you can just use this here, ride your bike, and you're good to go. I'll get started with the warm-up cord. You might also know this as a pull rope. It's just a rubber band, basically, pretty thick and sturdy. It has 2 grips, neoprene handles here, super comfortable. And to make it really easy to fix it to pretty much anything, you have a carabiner. So for instance, you could hook it up to the net. You could hook it up on a fence, which I don't have right now. So I'm simply just going to fix it around that rope there. And we'll get started with chest presses and chest pulls. So you want to fix the rope about chest high, and depending on how far you pull that rope out here, you either lessen or you increase the resistance. So I start with my right here, chest high, and I hold on with my left arm here, and I'm just simply pulling back here. And of course, super simple, I'm also switching sides here. So this time it's my left arm. And for my chest presses, I'm just turning around, hold the cord fixed with one arm, get into a good solid ready position, and I press, push forward. And of course, I'm doing that on both arms. The next item in the fitness kit is the hip band. And one of the exercises that I like to do with that is this. Step into the band with your legs a little bit wider than shoulder, get a good ready position here, good solid base. You zigzag forward. And that's a really good reminder to keep this low and solid base as you're hitting. Next up, the set of cones, which I like. They have different colors, which makes it for a coach a lot easier, for instance, on serve placement to say, hit orange, instead of having to describe, go to the tee and do whatever it is. They're sturdy, they're really the right size. I love that they have that little hole because you can put a ball on it for an even better target, and they have this little string here, this little clip that holds them together, so they're ready whenever you are. A really valuable drill is the X drill because it combines lateral and diagonal movement. Start from both sides of the cone so you have all the directions, and of course make sure that you're always facing forward. the Monsterband. To me, this is a really, really great item because you can use it for so many things. For instance, you can just simply use it as a help when you stretch. Remember this stretch here where you're supposed to touch your upper and your lower hand here together? Ugh, something like this. I can't do that. So I use the Monsterband, for instance, to help me stretch here. But of course, you can also use it for strengthening exercises. And here's a really valuable one. So I simply fix the band here around the net post. Either you feed it through like this, so you only have 2 of the bands basically. Or if you want to make it a lot tougher, you quadruple up basically, and you have 4 strings, and that is really tough. I'll go with 2. I'm going to use a double-handed grip here, and without rotating my hips, my trunk here, I'm describing circles. So it's just a really good stabilization exercise for the core, and you do it slowly and in a controlled manner, and then of course you also switch sides. Next item, the stretch band. If you've ever dealt with either golfer's elbow or tennis elbow, you are familiar with this one. And I show you my 2 favorite exercises that I actually had to do when I was dealing with tennis elbow. It's a really simple setup. You step onto the band here, depending on how tight you hold it, the more or less resistance you have. And then you fold your hand basically right into the band here, and you flex up. But you're working on strengthening your forearm. And for the next one, you simply gather the band, stretch band here in your fist, and pull up against the resistance and slowly lower. This is my personal favorite, the reaction ball. Coach Ashley over at the Tennis Mentor, he will be the coach that will show you a ton of uses for this ball. I'm going to show you the one that I used to do when I was a kid, and it was difficult sometimes for my parents to get me off the court because I loved it so much. So here's what you do. You get into a good ready position, continental grip, and because this ball has these weird bumps, it's going to jump in any kind of weird way. You toss it, and then with soft hands, you try to catch it. Yeah, I could do this all day. Last item, the good old jump rope. This one here actually has a counter in it, so it makes it really easy to just knock out some numbers. Sure, everybody knows how to use a jump rope, but have you ever done this? Just jumping laterally. 70 to 80% of your movement on court are laterally. So you might as well learn how to push off with your feet, propelling you sideways. So what's the verdict? For me, no brainer, it's a must-have item. 7 tools that were specifically chosen with tennis activities in mind for warm-ups, for injury prevention, comes in one bag, very sturdy, also water resistant, which might help me on my sprint to the car, because I'm not sure if you hear that, it's raining. And by the way, the price is much better than a DIY kit that you could pull together individually with these tools. And if you have everything in one place, it makes it so much easier to actually also use it. And that's why I'm giving it a 2 thumbs up. And if you want to save some money, you can also use the link down below.